Under the blazing midday sun, across the southern plains of the United States, the helicopter's spinning blades whipped up clouds of dust from the ground below. Today's hunt was unlike any other. No trekking through dense forests, no climbing mountain ridges. This time, the chase was from above. From the sky, everything lay exposed. Patches of woodland, wide grasslands, even herds of wild hogs busily foraging below. Every movement was in plain sight, but every shot demanded absolute precision. Would we truly be able to bring these stubborn destroyers under control this time? Let's begin the hunt right now. We circled in the air and quickly locked onto a patch of land overrun by feral hogs. The roar of rotor blades sent the herd scattering in chaos. I swung my rifle, tracking every frantic movement below. Then came the thunder of gunfire raining down. One by one, the targets collapsed in seconds. I tried locking onto another, but shooting from a helicopter was no easy feat. My teammate lowered the altitude, closing the gap. That advantage turned the next shots razor sharp. More targets dropped on me. Chase them down. I shouted. My teammate instantly pulled the stick. The helicopter surged forward, pursuing a hog sprinting desperately. From above, I locked onto it, held my breath in the decisive moment, then squeezed the trigger mercilessly. The shot rang out. The hog stumbled, lost its footing, and slid across the dirt, a cloud of dust exploding around it. Another crop raider eliminated. Ahead, a group of 5 hogs bolted across the open ground. He didn't waste a second. In a flash, his rifle was up, barrel sweeping across the running shadows. And you know what? Not a single miss. Each target fell cleanly. One after another, he neutralized the threats, securing the farmer's harvest. We kept scanning the land below. There, another herd burst into view across the clearing. Among them, one massive dark figure stood out. Clearly the beast had to go. The instant it paused, trying to change direction, I pulled the trigger. Boom! The shot echoed as the giant crumpled into the dust. One thing was certain, it would never ravage the crops again. West, 5 o'clock, a herd running wild. Without hesitation, the helicopter darted toward them. No time to think. I raised my rifle and fired. Bullets flew, and the last target was struck down. I kept sweeping my aim, firing at others in the herd. Each shot hit home, sealing their fate in an instant. Swift, clean, relentless. What do you think of that shooting sequence? The helicopter made another sweep to search for stragglers. Though the distance was great, I steadied my aim and fired. The bullet slammed into its body. The beast staggered, lost balance, then collapsed onto the barren earth. Looking down from above, I nodded slightly. Another target eliminated from the game. Every last stubborn hog had been taken down, restoring peace to the farmland. What do you think about this adrenaline-pumping helicopter hunt? Leave your thoughts below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you won't miss our next thrilling adventure. Lately, wild boars have been appearing in large numbers on the fields near my home and surrounding areas in Missouri. They've been rooting around and damaging the crops, causing everyone to lose sleep over it. As an experienced hunter, I couldn't just stand by and watch these pests run wild any longer. So, along with a few friends, we decided to set up an ambush on the grassland where the boars often gather to feed. The hunt began in a tense atmosphere, as our opponents were far from easy to deal with. As soon as dawn broke, we were already on the field. The wild boars were familiar with the way, and usually came here early in the day to forage. The whole team hid behind the earth mounds and waited for these destructive animals to appear. The silence was so deep that every small sound seemed amplified. I suddenly heard footsteps crunching on dry leaves, and just seconds later, a wild boar dashed out from the edge of the trees into meadow. I immediately took the chance, raised my rifle, and closely followed the running prey. The first shot was a bit hurried and missed, but I still managed to adjust in time and fired a second, accurate shot. The boar fell down instantly, lying motionless on the dew-covered grass. Next, I climbed up a high earth mound for a better view. From this position, I could see almost the entire field below, a big advantage if prey appeared from afar. Sure enough, in less than 10 minutes, another wild boar suddenly appeared from a dry bush about 30 meters away. I raised my rifle reflexively, but it ran too fast, making aiming difficult. Wild boars are big, but can run as fast as any animal. At that moment, I just squeezed the trigger by feel, but its speed and agility were beyond my expectations. I fixed my eyes on the dense bushes in front. There was no place to hide here, so I had to fight alone in silence and patience. Unexpectedly, 2 wild boars slowly walked out from afar. I held my breath, trying to aim very carefully. 1 shot, 2 shots. After several misses, 1 finally got hit. Before I could catch my breath, suddenly a gunshot rang out on the other side of the meadow. I guessed it was my friend Jackson. Although I was not sure about the situation there, I quickly got into a ready position. There it was. The boar was approaching me. The distance was close enough, so I didn't have to rush. Then a dry gunshot cracked. The boar was hit and fell down, struggling a few times before going still. Unlucky for it, just having escaped Jackson's shot, it fell straight into my sights. The hunt today was still not over. By early afternoon, I was still eager, carrying my rifle to scout around the area. This time, I went close to the forest edge. I couldn't take my eyes off the thick, dense bushes in front, and my instinct was right. Another wild boar appeared. Judging by its reflexes and speed, there was no time to think. I immediately raised my rifle, aimed, and pulled the trigger. It almost escaped, but in the end, I still won. After more than an hour wandering around the area, my muscles started to ache. I decided to stop by an open patch of land on the way home and end the hunt early. Hiding near the roadside, I heard dogs barking loudly from afar. Suddenly, a wild boar dashed into the open space. I raised my rifle, calmly waited for the right moment, then pulled the trigger. The first shot made the boar collapse and slide along the ground, but it still got up and ran. Without hesitation, I fired a second shot and watched the prey thrash from a distance. That shot ended today's hunt perfectly. Though tired, I felt very satisfied to have killed quite a few wild boars. Each one taken down means 1 less trouble for our local people.
Hello everyone, I'm Liam. Today, I had an incredibly special experience. My very first wild boar hunt, alongside Uncle Jack, a highly respected and seasoned hunter in our region. Since I was a kid, I've heard him tell spine-chilling stories about face-to-face encounters with massive wild boars. But it wasn't until today that I got to witness that wild world with my own eyes. Let's dive right into the hunt. I followed Uncle Jack into the forest quite early. Our hunting blind was cleverly built and well camouflaged. We sat quietly inside, eyes fixed on every slightest movement. Just a few minutes later, a herd of jet black wild boars came charging past us. I held my breath. Uncle Jack swiftly aimed his rifle and fired a rapid burst of shots. The gunfire echoed through the entire forest, but the boars, incredibly quick and agile, dashed off like lightning and managed to escape. First failed attempt, we decided to go deeper into the woods. While scanning the surroundings, suddenly a wild boar came charging down, making me jump in surprise. But Uncle Jack remained calm. He raised his gun, aimed within a split second, and pulled the trigger decisively. The bullet struck the animal, knocking it off balance. It tumbled across the leaf-covered ground. A bit farther in, I noticed Uncle Jack suddenly stop. His eyes were locked forward, as if he had sensed something wrong. Sure enough, moments later, a wild boar emerged. Uncle Jack, ever prepared, took only a few seconds to aim and fire. The mid-sized boar collapsed instantly, unable to react in time. Every move he made carried confidence, a reflection of years of experience. About half an hour later, we tracked the boars up a hill. Suddenly, a whole herd came rushing down, seemingly ready to charge at us. Thankfully, Uncle Jack reacted swiftly and took them down immediately. That moment left me in absolute awe. That afternoon, I continued to follow Uncle Jack and the village's hunting team back into the forest. The familiar hunting dogs were released and quickly got to work. I stayed close to Uncle Jack, picking up pace when we heard the dogs barking intensely, a sure sign something important was up. Oh my gosh, he just shot a wild boar, and I hadn't even spotted it yet. After the first shot, the boar veered off course. Uncle Jack received the signal and immediately ran to support the other team members. He quickly took position with his trusted rifle. The moment a boar charged out, he fired a shot, so precise it was hard to believe. The boar dropped within seconds. The team wrapped up the day's hunt with a completely unexpected turn of events. He had taken down 2 wild boars within minutes. Unbelievable. It all happened so fast. It felt like a scene straight out of an action movie. That brings our hunt to a close. What did you think of today's adventure? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to catch more thrilling hunts.
I still vividly remember that morning, a bitterly cold day in November, with mist still clinging to the mountain slopes. We followed narrow trails along the hills, searching for tracks and hunting wild boars. Of course, the hunt wasn't for sport, but to stop their destruction, as wild boars in this region are among the most invasive and dangerous pests. Our hunting team consisted of over 30 people, equipped with rifles, walkie-talkies, and extra ammunition. Divided into 6 smaller groups. The location: the Pyrenees Mountains, straddling the border between France and Spain. At 6 a.m., right on schedule, we arrived at the mountain. This hunt was different from the usual. We were joined by a pack of elite hunting dogs, making the search for prey across this vast terrain much more effective. And we didn't have to wait long. The first targets revealed themselves. We quickly moved into positions with clear lines of sight. Through the fog, a group of wild boars emerged from behind the bushes. Without hesitation, we raised our rifles and pushed carefully. The gunfire echoed through the mountains. Several wild boars were hit and dropped to the ground. The rest scattered in panic, fleeing deeper into the wilderness. After the initial success, our team continued moving deeper into the mountains, an area with ideal natural conditions for wild boars to thrive. The terrain here was vast, so we had to search carefully, especially by tracking footprints pressed into the earth. From my position with Paul, a herd of boars suddenly came into view. They bolted so fast that we were forced to open fire immediately. The herd darted away, but our hurried shots still managed to bring one wild boar down. Wild boars can reach speeds of up to 40 kilometers per hour. That's why missed shots are sometimes unavoidable, even for experienced hunters like us. As the sun rose higher, its light burned away the thick blanket of fog. In other positions across the mountain, my teammates had also successfully taken down several targets. The wild boars, with their coarse, black fur and raw power were charging in panic as the deafening gunfire echoed through the mountains. We had lost count of how many shots we fired or how many boars had fallen. Yet, in that moment of chaos, many still managed to escape the barrels of rifles controlled by even the most seasoned hands. We were determined to track down the herd of wild boars that had fled. They quickly disappeared into an area thick with underbrush. But before some of them could escape, we managed to bring down a few more. There was no time to hesitate. I took aim and quickly pulled the trigger. Two shots rang out like thunder across the mountainside, and just moments later, the wild boar was completely taken down. Even after countless hunts, the endurance and fierce survival instinct of this animal still command my deepest respect. Before we could even rest our hands, another target appeared, forcing my friend to immediately raise his rifle. This lone boar sprinted away at incredible speed, cleverly weaving into the bushes and escaping, leaving behind a cloud of dust after a series of terrifying gunshots. In the end, the wild boar was quickly taken down by a shot that hit a critical spot. Suddenly, another one appeared as if to make up for the earlier failure. This time, I tried to stay focused, aimed precisely, and waited for the right moment. A lethal shot to its weak point made the boar collapse and go completely still. By the afternoon, we were tracking wild boars in the southern area of the place where the herd had fled earlier that morning. Realizing I couldn't afford to miss the chance, I fired quickly, but the bullet veered off course and the target vanished into the thick trees. Though we were already exhausted, we patiently waited and continued searching for more targets. There was a wild boar appeared. And this time, I was determined to redeem myself with a decisive shot, ending the hunt with a convincing victory. That wraps up today's hunt. Thank you for joining us on this journey. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to support the channel. For now, goodbye and see you in the next video.